So, in this video, I'm going to be telling you which job you should apply for instead of carer and senior carer positions, or if you so insist, which role is going to be most beneficial for you to apply for instead of, or as well as, again, it's really up to you. But I'm going to be telling you about this role. I'll be telling you all the requirements, how much you can earn, career progression prospects and opportunities that you have from this role. And this is because the carer pathway has become so competitive. There are thousands of people applying, and this is mainly because you don't really need any qualifications to become a carer in the UK. So this has made it really, really competitive. But there are other roles that you can apply for if you've got healthcare experience, or if you're a nurse and you're not able to get the required grades for IELTS or OET, or if you have like a nursing qualification or a senior carer qualification out of the UK, which is not quite enough to register as a nurse in the UK with the NMC. So I'm going to say this again. There are some people who are working in different parts of the world out of the UK. They are not quite qualified degree nurses, so they are probably not able to register with the NMC, but they have a qualification that is still senior, more than a senior carer, which they can make use of. But because people are not really aware of this pathway, many people are just applying for carer jobs. So when you're doing this, you're then competing for those carer jobs with those other people who have got no experience. And I can tell you that to apply for career jobs in the UK, you don't necessarily need to have any prior experience, but your ability, your interview skills and all those things are going to be very important for you getting a job. So there are many people getting jobs without any experience whatsoever, and there are many other people who are qualified nurses and it's just impossible for them to get a job. So we're going to talk about this role. So as you already know from a video that I did previously, if you haven't watched that video, you want to check it out. So it's types of carer jobs in the UK and how much they pay. So in that video, I've spoken about senior carer, all the different roles right till the top. So if you haven't watched it, it's going to help to watch that video, because this is more like a part 2 of that particular video. So this particular role, so the Nursing and Midwifery Council in the UK regulates nurses and midwives. But interestingly, something that many people are not aware of, and maybe you're watching this and not actually aware, is the fact that the NMC also regulates another profession, which is called a nursing associate. So the nursing associate is in between a senior carer and a qualified nurse. So as a nursing associate, you can do most of what a nurse can do, but you're not able to say administer intravenous medications, obviously. But you can, have your own patients, even, on a ward, for example, if you're working for the NHS, you can have your own bay of patients, you can do everything. But if that patient needs IVs, you need to get a qualified nurse to administer those IVs for you. So that's a nursing associate role. This is a role that I believe that there are many people currently practicing overseas in a similar role as this, and these people are applying for carer jobs not knowing that they could register with the NMC to actually work as nursing associates in the UK. Not only will you be able to be in a more senior position, but you're also going to be paid more. So you may be sat now thinking, oh my God, Melvis, what are the qualifications? What do I need? Do I qualify? How do I know? Don't worry about that. I'm going to get into all the details of really every single thing that you need. So the NMC obviously regulates this role, which means that it's not like a carer role where you can just apply without any registration. With this particular nursing associate role, you would need to be registered with the NMC and have a PIN number just like a nurse. First thing to talk about is English. So for all UK visas, English is always a requirement. So if you're just applying for a carer position, obviously you can use the UKVI, but for professional level jobs like nursing, even a nursing associate role, you will need IELTS academic version. So that's what you need. But obviously, because it's a lesser, when I say lesser, I don't want to, it's a more junior role than nursing, but at the same time, it's an independent role in itself. So if you're a carer, and you're working with a nurse, for example, that nurse is accountable, which means that if a carer doesn't check a patient's ops, for example, the nurse is responsible for that. If you're a nursing associate, because the role is regulated by the NMC, You are an accountable independent practitioner. So it's a role that is well recognized. I think this was in 2019 when the NMC started to regulate this particular role. So if you have people, if you're already in the UK, obviously it's also a role that you can get into. It's a different pathway to get into that. And I do support people through my private coaching program to secure these positions, especially through apprenticeship routes, so that you can become a qualified nurse through that method without necessarily going to university and paying huge tuition fees. So this is a very, very good pathway to use to become a qualified nurse without necessarily paying tuition fees. But you've got to be really good at looking for these opportunities. You've got to be good at knowing where they are. You need to be flexible. You need to know how to apply what they're looking for. So it's quite a lot that comes into getting these funded apprenticeships. But it's something that is well worth it because, like I said, you then qualify as a nurse without necessarily having to pay 17,000 or huge sums of money. So it's a career progression pathway for carers and senior carers in the UK. So again, if it's something that you're interested in, do consider that. So like I was saying, obviously you need the English, and then you need to have verification with the NMC. So the NMC says that for you to register with them as a nursing associate, if you trained outside of England, you need to have verification. So what this means is that you need to send your personal documents to the NMC to look into all of them and then decide whether you're eligible or not. So the documents, you need ID documents. So for example, an ID card, a birth certificate, a passport. That's, you definitely need to have a passport because that's like an internationally accepted ID document. So you need that. And then just to say, if you've had a name change, so your name, say on the passport or on your certificate, because whatever certificate that you're using, that you've had from your school, obviously you need to include that. Let's say you did a diploma in nursing in some school somewhere, you need the original certificate from that institution that you were given on completion of the course. So you need to put that together with your ID documents and then send to the NMC. If you've had a change of name, because this is something that many people worry about, and they say, oh, Melvis, my name on my certificate, because I had it 10 years ago, is different from my name right now because I've been married, I've been divorced, or I've been adopted. Those are the three main reasons why people change their names: marriage, divorce, or adoption. So if you've had any of these changes and your name has changed, that's fine. The NMC does recognize that, people's names do change for whatever reason. All you need to do is include your, marriage certificate or divorce certificate or change of name certificate. You need to just include that within those documents. Very important. It doesn't mean that you just shy away from the whole process and say, oh no, I'm not able to do it. And it doesn't take that long actually. So you put all the documents together, like we've said. You go online, you need to register with the NMC. It's quite a process, but it's worth it in the end, really. You submit all the documents and you need to pay £140. So £140 you need to pay. And I'm going to say that when it comes to paying money, this is money that is well worth it. The biggest mistake that we sometimes do is that we tend to save money in the wrong places. We tend to save money through the wrong means. Or better still, sometimes you can save 1 penny and you lose £1. So this is £140 is going to be very well spent because you're getting the NMC to assess your qualifications, to examine that degree and your documents to see whether it is accepted and you can register as a nursing associate. This is so important and it's well worth its value in gold. So don't think about the money. Don't look at the fact that if you're applying for carer jobs, it's easier because you don't have to pay anything. You just apply. No. Yes, you're paying £140, but the fact that if you're successful through this pathway, you're going to be earning from £23,000 per year right up through to over £26,000. You can see that it's really going to compensate for the £140 that you've paid. So you want to make sure you're not looking at the money, because again, I know because some people are like, oh, as a carer job, I'm just gonna apply. This is worth it. You need to go for these positions because you're going to start your journey in the UK in the best possible footing possible, in the best, role possible. Not only is it a senior position, but if you come to the UK through this pathway, it's quite easy to become a nurse as well. If you're keen on becoming a nurse, it is very easy, and you can easily get funding to then top up into nursing. You know, there are two methods of funding that you can have. You can either pay yourself, and go to uni to become a nurse, or better still, you can get your employer or any other employer that is providing funding. And there are many employers that are actually providing funding, um, top up courses for nursing associates to become qualified nurses. So it is such a huge opportunity. And the best part of it is that employers that do take nursing associates normally have nurses, because the NMC actually says that as nursing associates, they are not there to replace nurses, they are there to complement the role of the nurse. So that's a big difference, which means that if you have, say, a nursing home, for example, because it's a nursing home and they need to have nurses, they're still going to have nurses in that home. So nursing associates will be there, but they'll also have nurses. Again, if you're working as a nursing associate, it's quite a good opportunity for you to be exposed to those nurses, to learn directly from the nurses as well, so that by the time you're thinking, do I want to really progress into nursing or not, you're making a more informed decision, because you're working firsthand with nurses and really seeing what it is that they do. So that also helps you in that pathway of career progression. Because if you're a carer, the things that you're doing are very, very different from nursing. You're kind of doing those activities of daily living, for example, assisting patients with, you know, to have their meals, personal hygiene needs, maybe shopping. Those are the types of roles that you have. But if you're working as a nursing associate, it's a very clinical role. You're going to be working really closely as a nurse. The only difference, really, or the main difference, is that you cannot administer IVs. So that is going to be really huge, and it will make you transitioning from a nursing associate into a nurse, that will be a very smooth transition. So if you've got a diploma in nursing, from any country, or you've got a nursing certificate, whatever it's called, or a foundation degree, the NMC has given quite a few names. So basically, it's more than an GCSE's A levels, but it's lower than a degree. So you don't necessarily need a nursing degree to do that. So in some countries, if you have a diploma and you're working like a senior carer, for example, this is likely going to be eligible to register with the NMC and work as a nursing associate. So it's something that is worth considering. 140 pounds, like I've said, you just send your personal documents to the NMC. The NMC will evaluate all those documents. Once they've evaluated the documents, one thing, you need to make sure that the institution where you studied the particular course, you need to inform them, because the NMC is going to contact that college. If it was a nursing college or nursing aid college or carer college, whatever it was called, you need to give their details to the NMC when you're applying and submitting your documents. The NMC will then contact them to say, oh, we've had a request from Melvis saying that she studied in your institution from 2019 to 2022. Is this true? Because she wants to join and register in the UK, as a nursing associate. Do you know Melvis? Can you confirm that Melvis did study with yourselves? And can you confirm that the qualification that Melvis had is what she has presented to us today? So, and the NMC also says that you need to inform that institution. You need to gain consent from the institution before you submit your documents, so that they know that NMC will be contacting them. It just makes the process smoother. It just makes the process a lot easier. It's just like the verification process for qualified nurses is the same thing. But this one is obviously to your institution where you studied. Unlike nursing, where the NMC will contact the nursing council in the country, in this case, the NMC contacts the school where you actually studied. So you need to note the difference, because obviously you're not applying to become a nurse, you're applying to become a nursing associate. It's a different role. Again, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to the channel, do hit subscribe, turn on the notification button, because I drop a lot of useful information about career progression in the UK for nurses, carers, student nurses, something that I'm passionate about. I work as a nurse practitioner myself, and I've been able to progress from band 1, right through to top, management and top position within the NHS. So it's something that is achievable. It's something that is doable. Don't think like career progression is impossible. It's for other people. No, you're in this profession to succeed, to excel, to thrive. You deserve to get the best job that you want. And just check out also information in the description box about my private coaching and mentorship program and how I can support you. We normally have weekly live sessions. We have a nursing community hub where you can, get answers to all your questions promptly. The live sessions are obviously an opportunity to get into details. There's also one-to-one. So if you join the one-to-one plan, you and I just meet up, regular intervals that we plan, and we go through these processes with you, whether you're looking for a job in the UK or you're just progressing to senior positions. Again, like I say, it's something I'm so passionate about, career progression in the UK, because once you get to the UK, that's not the end. For me, it's only the beginning. You deserve to thrive, to excel, to continue to grow, to earn more, to have more time with your family, to have more time for yourself, to just be able to enjoy the move. You don't want to be in this country and all you're doing is struggling. So if you're watching this and you're in the UK already, do get in contact with me and make sure that you're joining the nursing career bootcamp so that you can keep on progressing and excelling, because I know the challenges that come with this job. It's not easy. You don't need to struggle alone. There is help and support out here. So make sure that your hand is held to whatever level that you can progress into. And there are no limits. This country gives opportunities to all of us. As long as you know how to navigate the system, you know your way through things, you can get a mentor to guide you. It just makes your journey a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, and a little bit less painful, which is something that you definitely deserve to have. And that's what I'm here to do. Again, if you've got any comments as well, leave them in the comment section below, because I'm going to be answering those questions, and just making sure that you have all the information that you need, that you deserve, in order to get your questions obviously answered. So like we were saying, once the NMC has received your documents, they're going to contact the institution where you studied. Once the institution confirms that indeed they know you studied them, and they are happy that every information I've given is correct, the NMC is going to contact you within 14 days. So that's within 2 weeks. You will get an email from the NMC within 2 weeks to say that yes, indeed your qualification is legit, and they are happy to register you as a nursing associate. Or they will say, unfortunately, because of whatever reason, they are not able to register you. You'll be told that. But I can assure you that the £140 is well worth it. And something that really made me begin to reflect on this pathway is when I looked at the numbers from the NMC. So the NMC published data. If you've watched my videos before, I absolutely love data, because that's real information giving us the exact details, figures that we need to make more informed decisions. So the NMC, when I looked at how many nurses and midwives, mental health nurses, pediatric nurses had come to the UK, the NMC, basically there are very few nursing associates. And I started to think, oh, if the NMC is accepting nursing associates from overseas, why aren't more people applying? Even if you're qualified, if I was a qualified nurse overseas, and say I didn't have the required grades for IELTS or OET, I think I would definitely be considering registering as a nursing associate instead, because it's going to be a role that is so close to your nursing competencies. It's going to be a role that you can easily transition from into nursing, and it's a role that is going to give you a lot more satisfaction. And it's also got those boundaries, which means that, and there are many vacancies. There are so many vacancies for this, and hospitals that are relying on nursing associates to run most of their wards. Like the NMC said, it is not a role that replaces nurses, but it's a role that works alongside nurses. So you do want to consider this, particular pathway. If you're a nurse, especially, obviously, you're overqualified, so it's going to be accepted. But I would just say, make sure that you're doing your research, make sure that you've got all your documents right, make sure that your institution is able to confirm those details to the NMC. So once the NMC, if the NMC says that you're able to register as a nursing associate, obviously that's the best news that you want to hear. You also need to write the CBT. So there's a CBT that nurses do, but there's also a CBT for nursing associates. So it's not the same that you write as a nurse. You also have to do OSCEs, but the OSCEs are done in the UK. The NMC actually has like 5 centers that do OSCEs for nursing associates. So it's not something that is that complex really. It's a similar process to registering as a nurse, but you just need, fewer requirements and fewer things that they need, obviously qualifications, basically a lower qualification, since this job is band 4 and nursing jobs start from band 5. So that's the major difference. So you need to do the CBT. CBT is something that you can do obviously in your country. If you're already in the UK, again, like I was saying, you can do that. You've got more opportunities, obviously, because it's easier. You're already here and all that. If you're out, you can still do your CBT. Once you get a job, you also need to do the OSCE. And the OSCEs, if you're overseas, you can't do the OSCEs overseas. Obviously, you need to be in the UK to do the OSCE. But the thing is that, as usual, once you get your job, once the NMC says you can apply and all of that's gone through, you can always get a job. Once you move to the UK, then you can do your OSCEs while you're here, which is such a great opportunity because you're already in the UK. Your employer is going to help you, support you to prepare for the OSCE. The OSCEs are currently 700 and something pounds to do the OSCE for the first attempt, and it's like 300 and something pounds if you have to do a receipt of the OSCE. There are 10 stations. You'll get all the training and support for those OSCE. So it's not something you need to worry about at this stage. Take the process one step at a time, so that you can go through it and just make sure that you're not getting too stressed out, because I think sometimes if you're thinking about the whole process in advance, it can get too overwhelming. And this is what is also keeping so many nurses back, because if you're sat there thinking, oh my goodness, how long is it going to take me to go through this process? Don't think about that. Just think about, what is the next step that I need to do? Take that next step, and then from the next step, the next one will come, and that's how you build onto that knowledge, you build onto that information, and before you know it, you're going to be in the UK, in a really good position that you're going to enjoy. You're going to have the clinical expertise that you need, because one of the main challenges that nurses face, overseas nurses face, for example, when they move to the UK through the carer pathway, is that it's not very clinical. If you're a nurse, for example, let's say in Zambia, and you're working in ITU or in A&E, can you imagine the difference leaving ITU to come to the UK and work as a carer, maybe doing domiciliary care, and it's not a very clinical role. So if you come as a nursing associate, you're still going to keep that clinical expertise that you've gained over the years as a nurse. You're still going to have that encouragement and that sense of duty that you have towards nursing. You're still going to feel that, even though yes, you're not quite working as a nurse in the UK, but you're working in a role that is pretty similar. And like I was saying previously, progressing then into nursing is going to be a lot easier, a lot smoother, and there are more opportunities then for you to do that. So you need to explore all these different opportunities. This information, please, I need it to be implemented. I need you, yes, and you need to promise. If you leave a comment below and say, I will implement this information, then I'm going to be very pleased, because I'm not doing this video for you to just know about it and do nothing. I want you to implement. I want you to keep on excelling, to keep on thriving. I want you to stay motivated in this journey, because I know how it can feel to feel like you should be in a different role, but you're doing something else that you don't really enjoy. I know that, and that's why I make the effort to bring this information to you. So please leave a comment below to say, Melvis, I will implement this information. Thank you very much for that. So, once you obviously get a job, like we're saying, we do your OSCE. Once you've done your OSCE, then the NMC will give you a PIN number. So you have a PIN number from the NMC, to practice. Similar to nursing, you need to renew every year. And then if you then transition into nursing, then you're going to leave from the nursing associate side of the register into the qualified nurse side of the register, which is so amazing, because there is then that gradual career progression from one role to another, which I think is so incredible. I think the best thing that the NMC did was to take over this role, to make sure that there's regulation, and to make sure that there is an opportunity as well for overseas candidates to get into this role. Like I said, when I looked at the data that the NMC published, looking at how many people actually came as nursing associates, I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, why didn't I actually put more effort about it? So going forward, this is a role that I'm going to be supporting more people, to apply through, rather than just nursing, but also supporting, all those other carers that are overseas that have had, extensive experience, extensive um, educational background, but are not qualified nurses. They don't have the degree, to register with NMC as a qualified nurse. I will be supporting you if you fall in that category to make sure that you're joining the NMC register as a nursing associate. So please, you don't need to be just applying for carer positions and looking for the best or the quickest thing to get into the UK. I want you to get the best pathway so that you're starting your UK journey, in the best way possible. When I started as a band one carer. This ban has now been scrapped. So yes, you can progress to any level that you want. But if you have the opportunity to start at a senior level, to start at a higher level, please don't let that slip, from your fingers. Don't let that, don't let that go away. Make use of that opportunity. Because once you move here and you're working, it's a lot more, challenging then as well. There are different challenges, obviously, but you can still make it. So if you're already here, contact me if you're interested in this opportunity. I can support you to apply for those funded positions. I can support you to make sure that I teach you about what the role entails, to make sure that you are the best candidate next time that they're shortlisting for this role. Because as you can imagine, fully funded positions can be very competitive because nursing is quite an expensive course. Imagine, and the best thing really is that if you're funded by an employer, they are not going to consider that you are an international student. When the employer is funding, they are the ones paying for you. So it really doesn't matter. But if you're going to uni or directly yourself, if you don't have indefinite leave to remain in the UK or you don't have a British passport, then you will indeed be considered as an international student. So you want to make sure that you get in contact with me so I can support you to apply for some of these positions so that you can achieve your dreams in the UK as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, without wasting so much time struggling, in a role that you probably don't enjoy or in a role that is burning you out and in a role that you don't feel that it aligns with your principles. It doesn't align with the values that you want, to carry through. I understand because I've been in that position where I'm working in a role and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is just not for me. And sometimes, you can feel like there is no way out of it. There is always a way out. There's always support out there that you can have to help you continue progressing, to help you continue thriving, to help you to continue to, achieve your goals. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do hit subscribe, turn on the notification button, like the video, leave a comment and say, Melvis, I will implement this. I want to see those comments. So if you're, thinking, oh, what should I do? You need to leave a comment and say, Melvis, I will implement this. And then that's a promise. I'm going to hold you to that and chase you up and be like, hey, you promised that you were going to be implementing this. What have you done? Because 1 year from now, 2 years from now, I want you to be in a different position. I want you to be in a more joyful place. I want you to be in a place where you're thriving. I want you to be in a place where you feel confident, you feel comfortable, and you just have that ongoing career progression. Because the cost of living is high, prices are over the roof, there's a recession, there's so much going on. You want to keep improving your economic situation as well. So if you're interested in career progression in the UK, then make sure that you do get in touch. If you're thinking of entrepreneurship, again, I'm very passionate about early retirement. I'm very, very keen on it. I'm looking forward to retiring early myself because working till 67 or 70 is not really something that I'm looking forward to. I would rather be at the beach somewhere in a Mediterranean country, sipping a glass of prosecco and sunbathing and just chilling out, watching my children sail through and just really have a great time. So if you're thinking about a life like that, you need to focus on career progression, and then secondly, starting a side business for yourself so that you can continue to thrive, you can continue to make money on the side. Because look, guys, the way things are going, it's not easy. And I think it's going to take so many years, probably not even this lifetime, for the world to change, for the world to come back to normal, for the world to be in a good place. So you don't want to sit and wait for fate. You want to make sure you're proactive in the process. And that is why, I'm here to support you through that journey basically. So, nursing associate role, it's well worth it. It is a role that I cannot overemphasize how much impact it can have in your life. And if you haven't watched the video that I did about the types of carers in carer positions in the UK and how much they earn, please, you do want to check it out. Check out the channel. There are many relevant videos about this particular topic, securing jobs in the UK, what to expect, during interviews, interview preparation. That's quite an important part, because no matter your experience, if you're unable to sit successfully through an interview, it's going to be challenging. So leave a comment below to say, Melvis, I will implement, so that I know that not only are you listening to this information and it's coming out of the other ear, but you're going to be implementing everything that I've said. And if you're struggling, you need that extra support, then obviously I've got my private coaching program, Nursing Career Bootcamp, which is there to support you, to hold your hand, to walk you through the journey, to make it smoother, easier, simpler, so that you don't have to waste a lot of time, because there is no time. Many of us are already maybe in our 30s, in our 40s, in our 50s. You need to make the most of the time that we've got. So I'll see you in the next video.